There are some faces you just can't forget. Faces that haunt your nightmares long after you've seen them. This was one such face. A face that belied a monster who was both charming and sinister, handsome and cruel, the worst of all, human yet inhuman. Welcome to my channel. Tonight we bring you the story of America's most notorious killer, Ted Bundy. Let's begin. Part 1. Ted Bundy, the charming monster. Handsome, charismatic, brilliant. Ted Bundy was the man everyone trusted until they didn't. Behind his perfect facade lurked one of America's deadliest serial killers. Part 2. Early life. Born in 1946, Ted Bundy grew up in a web of lies. He believed his mother was his sister and his grandparents were his parents. The truth, his mother was a 19-year-old who gave him up for adoption. Raised by his wealthy grandparents, young Ted had everything but love, and this created a monster. The first signs were disturbing. At age 3, he tried to set a fire. At 8, he cut a girl's hair without her permission. As he grew older, so did his anger, his violent streak. But no one knew the half of it, because behind closed doors he was charming, polite, a model citizen. Part 3. The Mask. By his 20s, Bundy was the golden boy, a law student, politically active, and a member of the Young Republicans. He also volunteered at a suicide hotline, which gave him access to potential targets, young, pretty women who called for help. He dated co-eds, attended parties, was a man about town, but all the while a predator hunted. Part 4. The Method. Bundy had a system, a deadly trap that claimed dozens of lives. It started with a fake cast on his arm or a sling. Next, he'd approach a young woman on campus, feigning injury and asking for help with books or his car. Once he got close enough, the nice guy routine dropped. He'd strike, bludgeon, kidnap, strangle. His victims were mostly college women, smart, pretty, often from affluent families. They thought they were safe, but Bundy made sure they weren't. He would sometimes keep them for days, shackling them to his van or apartment, assaulting them, playing mind games. Other times he'd take them to remote areas, burying them alive, sometimes returning to their graves, desecrating their bodies. He even kept souvenirs, photographs, jewelry, anything that reminded him of his kill. By the time the authorities connected the dots, Bundy had moved on to his next victim. He worked fast, killing sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. His territory spanned multiple states, leaving investigators baffled. Part 5. The Horror. Dozens of women were found dead, many more missing. The killer's name was Ted Bundy, and he was still at large. In the early 70s, he was finally caught, convicted for a series of crimes. But before he could be sentenced, he escaped from a courthouse, vanished into thin air. How did he do it? Well, that's classified info. But let's just say Bundy wasn't your average criminal. He was cunning, manipulative, and downright evil. It took less than a year for him to strike again, this time in Florida. 2 sorority sisters, both 20 years old, were brutally murdered, their bodies left just yards apart. Then there was the case of 12-year-old girl. All 3 murders were linked back to Bundy, who was now in custody again. But he escaped again, this time from a jail cell, breaking out through an open window. For 6 weeks, he remained at large, evading the police, living among the people whose daughters he'd preyed upon. Finally, he was caught, extradited to Florida, and charged with the murders. His trial was televised. Cameras captured his smirking face, his strange behavior in court. He represented himself, cross-examined witnesses, even proposed to his victim's family. But there was no happy ending. Bundy was convicted and sentenced to death. On January 24, 1989, he died in the electric chair. Outside the prison, a crowd of over 100 people cheered. Bundy's legacy, however, lived on. Ted Bundy was more than a killer. He was a cultural icon, the poster boy for evil. And why not? He had it all: brains, looks, and charm. He was Mr. Nice Guy gone wrong, proving that evil doesn't always look evil. It can smile, charm, and ask for help. And that brings us to the end of tonight's episode. Did you find the story intriguing and terrifying at the same time? Tell us in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share this episode with those who love true crime stories. For more such gripping tales of suspense and horror, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell. Catch you in the next one. An evil hides in plain sight. Ted Bundy proved it.